Hey, welcome to EPN. My name is Victor Lucas, and we bring you the latest in everything cool every single day. Welcome to EP Live. Yes, we are live. This is not Memorex. We are streaming to the world, and we thank everybody that's come and joined us for this live show. And we're about to get started with a rundown that I'm dedicating to L Darkness, I believe, asking, what do I need to do for a shout out? There's your shout out. There's your rundown. Let's get started with today's rundown. All right, don't expect to see a new version of the Nintendo Switch for a while. With the console about to celebrate its first birthday, Nintendo isn't planning to create a new Pro or XL version of the system for at least another few years. That's according to a new report in the Wall Street Journal. Citing unnamed sources at Nintendo, the journal claims that Nintendo is concentrating their efforts on making new peripherals for the existing version of the Switch rather than make a new version. There's no word yet on what these new peripherals might be, but given all the plastic add-ons that Nintendo has created for the original Wii, they'll probably come up with more than a few ideas. They've already created different kinds of peripherals with their new cardboard construction game called Labo, where players create their own add-ons, but that doesn't mean Nintendo can't sell more expensive plastic add-ons down the road. Now, we'll be chatting about all these stories at the end of the rundown. Let's continue. Gamers won't have to wait much longer to become human in a futuristic version of Detroit. Sony and developer Quantic Dream have announced that their long-awaited PS4-exclusive Detroit Become Human will finally arrive worldwide on May 25th. The game was officially announced back in 2015, and a tech demo for the project was shown off well before that in 2012. The game takes place in the not-too-distant future when human-like androids are basically used as slave labor, with players taking the role of 3 different androids amidst an android uprising. It uses the same gameplay style of previous Quantic Dream titles like Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls, basically combining point-and-click adventure mechanics with third-person action and interactive cutscenes, along with super detailed environments and realistic character animations. Now, in related news, we're going to be seeing a lot more exclusive games coming to the PS4 and future Sony platforms. Sony Interactive Entertainment, the game publishing branch of Sony responsible for the PS4, has announced that they're restructuring their corporate operations to focus on creating more first-party games. They're reorganizing the structure of their regional subsidiaries like Sony Interactive Entertainment America and Sony Interactive Entertainment Europe, with the goal of getting more first-party titles in development, which means that we'll be seeing more exclusive games like Detroit Become Human and Horizon Zero Dawn going forward. That sounds great to me. In their press release announcing the restructuring, Sony says that first-party games are crucial to driving sales of the PS4, which seems obvious, but if this means more great games, count us in. No specific new titles have been announced. That's what E3 is for. The sequel to Wonder Woman is racing into production, and it may have found a very catty villain. Kristen Wiig is reportedly in talks to play the lead villain in the upcoming sequel to the blockbuster superhero movie. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Wiig will play the DC villain Cheetah, who in the comics is an anthropologist who gains the speed and agility of a cheetah, making her the perfect adversary for the superpowered Wonder Woman. No official announcements have been made, so consider this a rumor until further notice. Wonder Woman 2 will hit theaters in 2019 with Patty Jenkins back in the director's chair and Gal Gadot back in the lead role. Thor might be dropping his hammer and hanging up his cape in order to take on aliens in a new franchise. Chris Hemsworth is in talks to star in a new Men in Black spin-off film. Variety reports that the new film will see the Thor star play a new agent in the galaxy-defending Men in Black organization, where he'll presumably keep the world safe from alien bad guys, crack a few jokes while he's at it. The new movie likely won't see Will Smith or Tommy Lee Jones reprise their roles from the original movies, so luckily Hemsworth has plenty of star power to fill their shoes. Sony Pictures has been keen to reboot the lucrative Men in Black franchise for several years, so we'll let you know if this one moves forward. I bet they're keen to reboot that franchise. Let's talk about the Nintendo add-ons first here. Now, I feel like we got inundated with the Wii shovelware because it was such a successful console, and we got so much plastic crap out there. So it was incredibly frustrating to sort of deal with all of this junk as the Wii was sort of winding down. And I'm worried that you know, that Nintendo may go down that road because now the Switch is obviously so super successful, more successful out of the gate than the Wii was, actually. And so people are going to be going crazy to try to get in on that fervor. And I just don't want there to be a huge collection, this huge, you know, dust collecting pile of plastic stuff out there. And that's what makes Labo so exciting. Not only is it a cool technology that seems affordable to craft and build and replicate, if you rip one, which is weird. But you can also recycle it when you're done with it, you know, and I think that's a pretty cool one. Now, Paul Adamson has got a question. What do I think behind the surprise date change for Infinity War? Actually, I haven't heard about the date change. Have you heard about the date change, Blake? Now, there's a date change for Infinity War. I haven't heard anything about that yet.
Oh, it must have just broken.
It must have just broke. Okay.
Yeah,
Blake's going to research that, and I'm going to have an answer live very soon here. I think Nintendo has learned some big lessons, obviously, along the way with successful lessons and also the backlash that comes with that success. You know, there was a lot of junk associated with what came out of the Wii, and I don't think anybody wants that. It's been moved it's been moved a week forward. Infinity War. It's coming out. It's not on May 4th anymore. Wow, crazy.
It's coming out a week sooner.
Holy crap! They're done. They want to get this thing going. They want to start making the bucks. I guess they want the tailwind off of Black Panther, and they just want to get to it. It makes sense for me. There's another rumor out there. I don't know if you guys have seen this. We didn't put it in the news because it's obviously total conjecture. But if the Time Warner deal doesn't go through, this is off topic here. Time Warner deal acquisition with AT&T doesn't go through. Time Warner may sell off its Warner Brothers and DC Comics divisions, and presumably there will be some interested parties out there. One of them rumored to be interested in Warner Brothers is Apple. But what if Disney said, we want to buy DC as well, which would be insane. And of course, we've all been dreaming and hoping of something like that for a long time. We've got the Quantic Dream game, Detroit Become Human, finally being released in May. They had a little bit of controversy at the studio with some former employees talking about working conditions there and some of the stuff that was going on. I don't know what's true there. I don't know what went down. I've been to the studio. I was there, gosh, a long time ago, more than 10 years ago, maybe 15, at least between 10 and 15 years ago. I went to Paris and went to Quantic Dream and visited the team and interviewed people there. And it's definitely a pressure cooker to build content like this, which is so graphically rich and so filled with I mean, they're trying to replicate what we see in movies and TV shows and also make it interactive, and that's not easy. And I can imagine that the stress at the studio gets pretty damn high. But I'm looking forward to this. From the hands-on that I've had so far, it feels like the slickest experience that the team has crafted so far. And I like this idea. I think it's a very pertinent idea to be thinking about the rights of androids. Because we are moving into this creation of artificial intelligence that's going to be incredibly interesting in our society very soon. So I think it's going to be cool. Have I got a question here from Ryan Landis. Have you heard any rumors about the PS4 Pro getting a refresh before this gen is over? I haven't heard anything conclusively about that stuff. I would not put that out of the question. I wouldn't say that's out of the question for Sony because they've made several revisions to the existing sort of current model PlayStation 4 since they launched that. And I think it's really, these refreshes just sort of put it back in the news and put the brand back out there. It's not a huge deal for them to create cosmetic changes. Now, if they did something like, say, our new PS4 Pro will now play HD 4K Blu-rays, that's going to piss off some of the existing PlayStation 4 Pro owners out there. It's going to be very interesting how they sell us the next Xbox and the next PlayStation, the 5, because these 4K systems are pretty damn hot already, and we are really just getting started with a lot of these 4K games. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Question, Vic, can you divorce the reports out of Quantic Dream when reviewing Detroit? Yeah, great question, Blair. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to let the work speak for itself, and I'm just going to, sit down and enjoy the game. And I know that, a large part of a game like that is also the writers and the actors and all the other people, although I'm sure it was all written by David Cage. But I feel like there was a lot of contribution to get this game out there. And I feel like you just have to appreciate the art, and it's hard not to have it sort of bubble up in the conversation, but you just have to kind of enjoy what's sitting in front of you, It's a little different when you're talking about something like a Woody Allen movie that he is the star of, but in this case, I think that I will be able to just sit down and play the game, and I hope it's awesome. I can't wait, And I genuinely hope that people are being treated all right, and that if there were big mistakes made, or if people were treated unfairly, that reparations have been started, at least, and that changes are coming. I mean, I think there's been a lot of abuse in a lot of different sectors of entertainment and the world, and lots of different businesses, and I think the best that can come out of it is change, so that we can have a lot more equality and respect in the workplace, but also hopefully, if there has been a lot of this stuff anywhere, there's been a movement to kind of solve things and fix things. Yeah, it definitely gets. You get conflicted when you start talking about all of this stuff, right? Because there's a lot of hopes and dreams, and a lot of shattered hopes and dreams in all of this equation out there. Let's see, any other questions or comments? The PS4 Pro, I think we're good there. I think Audrey on Leon wants to know how your trip went for Far Cry 5, Blake.
Sorry, my mic was off. My Far Cry 5 trip went really well. I'm actually not allowed to talk about it because it's embargoed until tomorrow.
Oh, okay. That's all.
But we'll have a story on it tomorrow, so look forward to that.
Blake's got a thumbs up for all of that. Okay, cool. We've got more first-party titles coming from PlayStation, which is awesome. Let's talk about Kristen Wiig as a villain in a Wonder Woman movie. That is some gutsy casting right there. That is it's like Michael Keaton level type casting as our Batman. She's an incredible performer, and she has skills at every level. I've seen her do some really fine dramatic work, and of course, she's a fantastic comedian. It's hard to kind of see her in a superhero movie, but sometimes this sort of, crazy mishmash cross-casting that happens with these movies turns out to be the best thing ever, And I think she'll bring a ton of personality and a ton of challenge back to Gal Gadot. I'm psyched. I mean, I cannot wait to see what Patty Jenkins and the team there is putting together for us with this sequel. Certainly, they're going to be coming into it with a lot of fire and a lot of confidence, and I think a big desire to say that this sophomore effort won't be a letdown. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, that's a crazy rumor, man. And hopefully we'll have official news from Warner Brothers very soon about that one. Now, Chris Hemsworth in a new Men in Black movie. I think that'd be cool. I love Chris Hemsworth. I think he's proven himself to be a very versatile performer. He's obviously, an incredible superhero, but he's got a lot of comedic chops, and he's a charming person, and he seems to be enjoying this whole process. And the work that I keep seeing him in, I saw him in that race movie that Ron Howard directed, and he was really good. Like he was kind of playing a massive movie star. He was a really big, beloved hero in the racing world in that film, and he just handled it with such grace. It was really cool to see. So yeah, I could see him taking the reins on a Men in Black sort of new direction and doing very well with that. I've always liked the Men in Black franchise. I think it's been squandered a little bit, and obviously Sony has said let's try to make some money with some of the, I think with Men in Black 3 especially. So I think it'd be good to try to juice it, do it for the right reasons, learn from the mistakes of the recent Ghostbusters reboot that, we can poke holes in a bunch of different ways, but the truth of that movie is that it wasn't funny enough. It wasn't enough, Ghostbusters, and I think Men in Black has to kind of revitalize the whole damn thing. So it's a great universe and a great world, and ripe for jumping back into. And Hemsworth is a good choice as far as I'm concerned. Let's see if we've got any other questions or comments. Question from Joel Roberts: do you think PS5 will follow Switch Portable role model? That has been a big question for me, Joel. I think the Switch is really proving out that people don't necessarily want to separate themselves from their software when they're mobile. You know, when they get onto a plane or whatever. You know, and I think Apple has capitalized on that by having games that you'll be able to move from your iPad to your iPhone or Apple TV. Not as much on the Apple TV as I once predicted, but I think consoles going forward have an opportunity to kind of learn from Nintendo like they always have and say, yeah, well, we want to bring it with us. So I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be surprised. I think everybody would call Sony out on saying, well, you're a copycat. But I think it's a consumer demand type thing, you know? Like, people want to be able to have these experiences that they can port with them. And I mean, when you can play a game as robust as Zelda and just carry it everywhere and continue playing, that kind of proves out the whole idea. And frankly, I think Horizon, as successful as it is, would have been even more successful if you could take your PlayStation 4 and carry it with you. Because the one thing that nobody really talks about with the Switch is that when you pull it out and when you're playing with the Switch in a train station or on the bus or wherever, or in a movie theater, you're basically an ad for the Switch. You know, everybody around you wants that machine because they're just checking their Twitter or their Instagram or whatever, and they see somebody lost in this massive world on the Switch, and well, I want that too. And so that is a very effective way to kind of gain more interest in your device. And Nintendo knew that, and I think they're capitalizing on it. And I think every one of you out there that plays Switch games has probably, out in the wild, has probably experienced firsthand the envy that other non-Switch owners have. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like it's not that big of a risk. The only risk that Sony would take by making their next machine or Xbox portable and home system is looking like they're chasing Nintendo's tail. But if people are that hasn't hurt all of the tablet manufacturers out there that said Apple's onto something, or the phone manufacturers out there that have sort of followed the smartphone kind of route. If people want it, I think why not build it for them? I want it. I want a PlayStation that I can carry everywhere with me. And the Vita was great, but it wasn't the Switch. You know what I'm saying? Adrian Leon, very disappointed with the Ghostbusters from 2016. Paul Adamson saying that he is into Wiig and loved her and everything that he's seen so far. Ryan Gauvier also backs that up. And we got it. The Good Looker says, turn it up, and he's put it into all caps. Did you boost our audio up a little bit? Okay, cool. Awesome. All right, you guys. Oh, we got a good comment here from Blair Farrell. I'm not that envious. I don't commute. I don't share a TV. I can't afford to travel. And when I'm out with people, I like to be present. A few Nintendo titles aren't enough for the price point. I mean, that's a good counterpoint. Absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see, though. I think the Switch is changing a lot of stuff, and it will be interesting to see how the rest of the industry responds. Just like they responded with the Wii, they did respond, and to not as much success as the Wii, as we saw.